Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi everyone. Okay, for today, our group will present about instrument for collecting data in qualitative research. For the instruments for collecting data, we have five instruments that we can use in collecting data in qualitative research, which are the first one is interview, the second one is document analysis, the third one is observation, the fourth one is questionnaire, and the fifth one is focus group interview or discussion. We will look at one by one for this instrument. Okay, the first one is interview. Okay, interview are guided question answer conversation or an interchange of views between two persons conversing about a theme of mutual interest. This is based on what Quayle and Brinkman 2009 said. Okay, qualitative interview provide opportunity for mutual discovery, understanding, reflection, and exploration via a path that is organic, adaptive, oftentimes energizing. Interviews elucidate subjectively life experience and viewpoints from the respondent's perspective. This is what Tracy 2013 said. Okay, next. Okay, this is the type of interview. There are three types. The first one is highly structured or standardized. The second one is semi-structured. And the third one is unstructured or informal. Okay, we look at the first one, highly structured, which is involve wording of question is predetermined. The order of question is predetermined. Interview is oral form of a written survey. In qualitative studies, usually used to obtain demographic data such as age, gender, ethnicity, education, and etc. For the second one is semi-structured, which is interview guide includes a mix of more and less structured interview questions. All questions use flexibly, usually specific data required from all respondents. Largest part of interview guided by list of questions or issues to be explored. And lastly, no predetermined wording or order. Okay, the third one is unstructured or informal, which is an open-ended questions, flexible, exploratory, more like a conversation. It used when researcher does not know enough about the phenomenon to ask relevant questions. Goal is learning from this interview to formulate questions for later interviews, and it is used primarily in ethnography, participant observation, and case study. Okay, next. Okay, the interview option, advantages and limitation. For the option that we can use for interview, the first one is face-to-face. The second one is by telephone or video conference. The third one is by email, which is we a given question of interview to the interviewee, and we will get the answer from them. And the fourth one is focus group, which is more than one interviewee. For the focus group, my friend will explain later. Okay, the advantages of interview. Useful when participant cannot be directly observed. Okay, the second advantage is participant can provide historical information and allow researcher control over the lines of questioning. Okay, but for the interview, we have some limitation. Okay, the first one is provide indirect information filtered through the views of interviewees, provide information in the designated place rather than the natural field setting. Researchers present may bias response, and not all people are equally articulate and perceptive. Okay, so the next one. Okay, look at the second instrument, which is document analysis. Okay, document refer to artifacts which are things or objects in the environments, differentiate from document that represent some form of communication. Documents include just about anything in existence prior to the research at hand, includes official records, letters, newspapers account, poems, song, corporate records, government's document, historical account, diaries, autobiographies, and so on. This is from Mariam 2009. Okay, next. Okay, the document analysis option, advantage, and limitation. We look at the first one is option. Option that we can use for document analysis. The first one is public document, includes minutes of meeting or newspapers. The second one is private document, which is journal, diaries, or letters. So the advantages of using document analysis, the first advantage is enables a researcher to obtain the language and words of participants. The second advantage can be accessed at a time convenient to researcher and unobstructive source of information. The third advantage is represent data which participant given attention. And lastly, as written evidence, it saves a researcher's time and expense of transcribing. But it also have some limitation. The first one is not all people are equally articulate and perceptive. The second one may be protected information unavailable to public. Maybe it is private access. Okay, the third one require researcher to search out the information in hard to find place. The fourth limitation is require transcribing or optically scanning for computer entry. The fifth one, the material may be incomplete. And last limitation is the document may not be authentic or accurate. Okay, next. So we look at for the third one, the third instrument that we can use in qualitative research, which is observation. Okay, the process of researcher take field notes on the behavior and activities of individuals at the research site. In these field notes, the researcher records in an unstructured or semi-structured way using some prior question that the inquirer wants to know. Activities at the research site. This is what Questionaire 2014 said. Okay, conducting observation is a systematic process, not a casual occurrence. You can increase your skill in observing truth practice. This is what Mariam in 2009 said. Okay, next. Okay, there are option, advantage of limitation of this instrument. We look at the option for observation. There are four options which are the first one is complete participant, which is the researcher conceal the role. Okay, the second one, observer as a participant, which is the role of researcher is known. The third one is participant as observer, which is observation rules secondary to the participant rules. And lastly, complete observer, which is researcher observe without any participation. Okay, look at the advantage of the observation. The first one, researcher has a first-hand experience with the participant. The second advantage, the researcher can record information as it occurs. The third one, unusual aspect can be noticed during observation. And the fourth one, useful in exploring topics that may be uncomfortable for participants to discuss. However, there are some limitations by using the observation as the instrument. The first limitation is the first one is researcher may be seen as intrusive. The second one, private information may be observed that researcher cannot report. The third one, researcher may not have good attending and observing skills. And the fourth one and the last one is certain participants, example the children, may present special problem in gaining rapport. Okay, so next one, my friend will continue the presentation.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum and hello to everyone. Thank you, Ridwan. Okay, for my part is a questionnaire. Okay, questionnaire are defined as an text-based instrument that gives survey participants a series of questions to answer or statement to respond to either by indicating a response, by marking a page, writing a number or checking a box on paper or online, for example, by Brown 2001. The quality survey use open-ended question to produce long-form writing or type answer. Question will aim to reveal opinion, experience, narrative or account. Often use a precursor to interview or focus group as they will they help identify initial theme or issue to, to then explore further in the research. Survey can be used iteratively, being changed or modified over the course of the research to elicit new information. Hancock 2009. Okay. Okay, let me see. There are three methods that can be used in questionnaire. Okay, the first one is face-to-face survey question. The second one is telephone survey question. The third one is online survey question. For the face-to-face survey questionnaire, researcher asks participants one or more open-ended questions about topic, typically while in a view of participant facial expression or other behavior while answering. Being able to view the respondent reaction enable the researcher to follow up the question to elicit or more detailed response from the respondent and follow up any facial or behavior cues that seem at odds with the participant in expressing saying. Okay. Face-to-face qualitative survey response are likely to be audio recorded and transcribed into text to ensure all detail capture. However, some survey may include both quantitative and qualitative question using a structured or semi-structured format of questioning. And in the case of researcher may simply write down key points for the participant respond. That for the face-to-face survey questionnaire. The second one, telephone survey questionnaire. Similar to the face-to-face method, but without researcher being able to see participant facial or behavior response to the question asked. This means the researcher may miss key cue that will help them ask further question to clarify or extend participant response to the question and instead rely on vocal cue. Okay. Okay, the third one, online survey, is use open-ended question as present to participant in writing format via email or within an online survey tool, often alongside quantitative survey question on the same topic. Researcher may provide some contextual information or key defined to help frame how participants view the quantitative survey question, since they can directly ask the researcher about in the real time. Participants are requested to respond to the question in text in some detail to explain their perspective or experience to researcher. This can result a diversity response. Okay, researcher cannot always probe or verify participant response to online qualitative survey question, which can result in data form that response being critique or viewed to the researcher. Online survey can collect a greater number of response in a period of time compared to face-to-face and phone survey approach. So where data may be less detailed, there is more of it overall to compensate. Okay, questionnaire strength. Risk qualitative data is obtained as open question allow the respondent to elaborate on the answer. This means the researcher can determine why a person holds a certain attitude. Okay, qualitative survey can help a study early on in finding out the issue, the need, the experience to be explored further in interview or focus group. Okay, the third one, survey can be amended or rerun based on response, providing a evolving or responsive method of research. Online survey will receive type of response, reducing translation by the researcher. Online survey can be delivered broadly across wide population with synchronous delivery or response. Okay, questionnaire limitation. The first one is time consumed to collect the data. It takes longer for the respondent to complete one open question. This is a problem as a small sample size may be obtained. Time consumed to analyze the data. It takes longer for the researcher to analyze qualitative data as they have to read the answer and try to put them into categories by coding, which is often subjective and difficult. However, Smith, 1992, has devoted an entire book to issue of thematic content analysis that include 40 different score systems for the open-ended question. The other limitation is not suitable for less educated response, as questionnaire open questions require superior writing skill and a better ability to express one feeling verbally. Handwriting note will need to be transcribed, time consumed for digital study, and keep physical for reference. Questionnaire can be leading or misleading, eliciting answers that are not core to the research subject. Researcher must aim to write a neutral question which not give away the researcher expectation. Okay, another limitation. Even with the transcriber or digital response analysis can be long and detailed, so not as much as in an interview. Okay, distant or online communication can be open misinterpretation that cannot be correct at the time. Narrow sampling may be skew the result of the survey. Okay, right now we look at the focus group interview or discussion. A focus group is a method for collecting qualitative research data through carefully planned group discussion with the purpose of obtaining perception of participants in persuasive and non-threatening environment. This is by Morgan 1988. The discussion are guided by a skilled moderator who work from a predetermined set of questions. The group member influence each other by responding to the comment made in the discussion. Focus group interview or discussion is a type of qualitative research instrument that involves a researcher bringing together a small group of participants to discuss a particular topic or issue. It's conducted in group setting and typically moderated by researcher who ask open-ended questions and encourage discussion among the participants. Okay, the number of participants involved may vary between half a dozen or 1 dozen, but the typically group size is 7 to 10 participants. Okay, if too large group may be more challenging to moderate. Too small group are less likely to generate rich discussion. Okay, we look at the strength of focus group interview and discussion. Okay, the first the focus group technique is a qualitative method that generate a rich understanding of stakeholder perception, experience, and belief. It is an adaptable research method that suit a myriad of research topic and can be applied to a great variety of approach. It can generate a diversity of perspective and experience that are shared and reflect often. It is useful for exploring It is useful for exploring consumer and user attitude to product or marketing strategy. It's useful for discover and identify local problem, especially when the researcher have little or minimal knowledge about the topic. Okay, so that we will do that. Lay people possess local knowledge that outside the expert may be unaware lah. Okay, this method is suitable for exploring stakeholder perspective and assessment of complex issue. Okay, it applicable during project implement as focus group generate a deep and content specific qualitative information. The tool is good at generating assessment of success and failure of project and policy. It's useful in identifying and assessing community need at local level in local plan and program. Okay. In contrast with what the sometimes claim, focus group appear to be rather useful for investigating sensitive topic. The technique can be serve an important role during the first stage of project development. Example, PO survey or questionnaire, but it not limited such a role. It can be easily and effectively be combined with other participatory research method to strengthen the quality of the result. Okay, we see about the witness. Okay, the focus group process require careful planning. There is no exact a template or interview guide to follow. It generates qualitative data that are rich and quite challenging to analyze. This complex assessment project, the method becomes relatively expensive and time-consuming process from beginning to end. Focus group result may not yield policy relevant outcome. The method requires good skill and certain personal attribute of moderator to generate a good and spontaneous but focused discussion among the participants. Due to the complexity and multi-dimensional scope of the research topic, focus group research requires a yet more scientific, careful, and hence time-consuming planning and analyzing that conventional one. The very elastic boundary of focus group definition often result in confusing about appropriate use and design of focus group. Quantification and strict generalization to larger population is not possible. Focus group are indicate for the specific social group that they are representing. Therefore, validity is somewhat limited. It's important to have accurate equipment. Yeah. Researcher has less control in group interview than individual interview. Focus group research is limited to qualitative research result. Okay, this one is a reference that we use uh, to create this slide. Okay, thank you.